Hello everyone, Dave Barton here. I'm doing my monthly newsletter. There's been so much happening. We had a press conference about a week ago where we talked about the finalization of the culvert project we did a full release of the finances. We announced the end of the litigation. I think there's questions about that that have come in, so I will answer those at that time. Also, huge shout out to our Public Works team. Mother Nature has been angry. There's been some pretty aggressive weather out there. The teams have been amazing. They've been working around the clock. So special thanks to our Public Works teams. And then just for all of you, please be very aware of the wind. We've had a lot of snow. There's a lot of blowing that takes place. If the wind's blowing really hard and you don't have to leave town, why don't you stay a little bit closer? We all know about some areas that there's heavy blowing snow all the time. Maybe avoid the 6th concession between the roundabout and Ball Road. Just some areas to be really aware of, just to keep yourself safe and to make sure that our firefighters can stay home and our paramedics can stay home. So let's jump right into the questions if that's okay.
Sure. First one is, Dave, you seem to be bragging about how this is a good deal for Uxbridge. $26 million doesn't feel like a good deal for taxpayers.
Okay, just to be really clear, we announced that the construction and land acquisition was $26.1 million for the culvert. Of that, about $5 million of that was to acquire lands. What wasn't a good deal was the land acquisition. There was the properties that we needed to complete this construction, we could have bought for under $2 million if we thought ahead. This was a different administration, this was a different council, and they were very concerned about debt. They were concerned about taking risks, and in the end, the way that they managed those risks was extremely expensive for our taxpayers. So we were forced to buy land after contracts had already been signed, and it was this council's job to kind of clean up that mess, get the construction moving again, and find a way to get through this construction project. So in no way am I bragging about land acquisition. What I think is a good deal for Uxbridge is that, first of all, this project happened when it did. We know what's happened with construction costs since the pandemic. They've gone up significantly. So the construction cost for this, the quotes came in at 12.3, 12.5, and then 15.6, I think, from our 3 different quotes. Those quotes, if we were sending those quotes out today, they would be significantly more. The cost of cleaning up contamination and dewatering, all those costs have also gone up significantly. And land acquisition costs since the project have gone up as well. So in the end, because we did it when we did, it was a good deal. What I'm extremely proud of is that we were sued for $8.75 million. That's a huge amount of money for a smaller community like Uxbridge. And because of the project management experience on council and from a staff perspective, because of how we documented every meeting, every weekly conference call we documented, that created an incredibly good case from a litigation perspective. So we were able to settle this for $460,000 instead of the $8.75 million. Folks, that's 5 cents in the dollar. The litigation was a very good deal, and thanks to our lawyers, Chris Lee was leading that file. Thanks to our CAO, Christy Honey, Bruce Garrett helped out a ton, and Willie Pop was in every one of those conference calls, pushing along the way and making sure that he was communicating with residents. So that's the part of this project that was a good deal. In no way are we bragging about the overall project, but this has set us up for extreme success in the future, got Uxbridge out of the floodplain, reduced our risk because the culvert was failing, and if there had been an accident where a truck fell through this culvert that was rotten out, we would have been at huge risk. And we had already received warnings from our insurance company that said they were not insurable. So thankfully this is done and it's behind us, and this could have cost us $35 million extremely easily, and it didn't because of the team here at the township. Next question.
Why aren't you taking care of the businesses?
And our heart really bleeds for the businesses. We have some people, again, that were affected during the pandemic when things were really tough. We had the road closed longer than we wished it was closed for, and there has been damage to buildings in downtown Uxbridge. Now, there's the litigation that our taxpayers were responsible for, and then we pay into insurance policies that fund other things. Any damage to businesses, the litigation, the damage, and any settlements comes out of our insurance. We pay insurance, and our insurance provider is providing that coverage. If we paid those businesses ahead of any settlement, it would come out of a different pocket. It would come out of your tax dollars, which would be a very bad deal for Uxbridge, and it's not the responsible way to govern. Just like if you had a house fire or something and there was significant damage to your home, your insurance company pays, you don't pay personally. That's why we pay insurance. That's the responsible way to govern, even when we wish we could help. This is our way of helping everyone, is to use the policies in place to do that. Next question.
You've called yourself transparent. There's a lot of miscellaneous expenses, over $67,000. What are those expenses?
So I have the sheet right here, actually. So it's a real mix. It's everything from pavement markings when we were moving lanes. We have some costs at Rona, some fencing. When we were doing work, some of it's with Cosmos, some of it's with Metroland. There's a little bit of legal in there, but very little, including like $580 for Red Hot Designs. I think we got some signs done there. And then some electrical work, some tree work, and some sewer work. So it's kind of a mix, but it's anything that didn't fit into a normal category. It went into this. This itemized list is available if anyone needs it, and we've already sent it to residents, including the one that asked this question. Next one.
I just read the I Am Wrong newspaper column in the Cosmos. Please don't build a new pool or animal shelter. You guys don't know how to build anything.
Again, interesting. Just to be really clear, the column is called Am I Wrong? And it's not a newspaper column, it's an editorial. So that entire piece, and I have it here, it's an editorial. So this is one individual's opinion. And it's funny, I read it and there's some dates wrong and numbers wrong and things like that. But the number one thing here is he's saying that when the Optimist Club built the pump track, they did a great job and it was perfect. What's really interesting about that is the Optimist Club were very generous. They donated $75,000 of their fundraising efforts to the pump track. They had actually no part in the construction. The construction was done by the municipality. And our team at the township, they think about things differently than any teams in the past. We're all about project management. We're all about how to get things done as quickly as we can, making sure we're taking on projects that make sense for the township, when to hire consultants, when not to, and what we can do in-house. Let's talk about some of the really great projects that have recently happened. Obviously, love the pump track. Every time I drive by, there's tons of kids there. The new baseball diamond with lights, with irrigation, that whole park has been changed, including lights for a soccer field, irrigation for a soccer field. Last year, new tennis and pickleball courts, new parking lot. There's been a lot that happened there. Then you look at Elgin Park. Huge changes to Elgin Park as well. Again, with the help of the federal government. We've got the new playground there, major renovations to the building, more lighting, more asphalt. Our team are great. They're doing a fantastic job. Now let's talk about the animal shelter. The animal shelter, that project was started under another administration. We're doing things a little bit differently. Lots of municipalities, including some in the south, are building animal shelters for over $10 million. We're doing it for 3.8 is the cost. I was actually on site today. ICF walls are up. There's more work to do, but it's coming together really, really well. And then also in the article, it said that in the editorial, let me be really clear, in the editorial, it said that the animal shelter keeps getting smaller. This animal shelter is just under 6,500 square feet. It has not shrunk. It has a garage. It will have a steel roof. It's ICF construction. It has in-floor heat, and it's all coming in at a really good cost because of how we're doing it. So I disagree completely with that editorial. Let's talk about the pool for a second. Right now we have an existing pool that's over 50 years old. It's end of life. There's issues that need to be fixed on that pool. We're, again, doing a different type of construction method. Lots of municipalities around us are spending more than $50 million on a pool. And we're gonna try and do this for well under 20. And get different construction method. It's built like some pools in the US, also fairly extreme weather in those locations. And just watch and wait. This is an exciting project for Uxbridge. It means that we will have an 8 by 25 meter pool, main pool for lane swimming. It will have a 10 by 15 meter therapy pool. It will have a gymnasium that will be used by tons and tons of people. Oh, you know what? One of the questions I know isn't there, but let me talk about it really quick. There's been lots of talk about squash and lots of questions about why we're not building a squash court. Okay. We're Uxbridge. We can't have everything. We're not growing like lots of different municipalities are. We have to take a really good look at what we needed as a municipality. Here's an example. 300 people use the pool every day, on average. That will get even bigger with the new pool because the pool itself is bigger plus the two pools. There was about 60 people a day that use the squash court. Really passionate people, we really like them, and they love squash. But it's not enough people to make use of that space. We couldn't build a squash court and a full gym. And we expect that 200 people a day are going to use the gymnasium instead of the 16. We couldn't have both. We had to be efficient with tax dollars. So again, I wish we could do a squash court. If they want to approach us later about another place for it, hey, we're open to interesting projects with fundraising. But there's no room in that facility. Any other questions? I think
There.
they're okay. Keep going.
Yep.
Thanks.
I saw photos online about a conference recently. What was that?
We had a number of councillors, including myself, go to the Roma conference in downtown Toronto. It was Willie Pop, Gord Shreve, Zed Pickering, Bruce Garrett, and myself went to the Roma conference. We had 10 different delegations, and this is 10 opportunities to speak to different ministries. So we talked to environment, we talked to natural resources, health, about the new hospital. Anyway, it's an opportunity for us to plead our case as Uxbridge on the things that are important to us, also give updates on critical projects. Great conversations had across the board, and special thanks to our MPP, Peter Bathenfalvey. He either came to every delegation or sent a staff member, and it just makes such a huge difference for us. And you know, things like the new pool that we talked about, things like the fundraising for Elgin Park and for the Fields of Uxbridge, often those conversations first began at delegations just like the ones that we had in Toronto this week. Anything else?
Yep.
Okay.
Can we assess the use of sand and salt in town and propose a less toxic salt-sand mixture that is pet-friendly?
Great question. Right now, we're focused on finding ways to clear as many sidewalks as we can. There's also, if you haven't read the papers, there's a huge need for additional salt in town. So a lot of us are trying to find ways to make our salt go further across the board. We've had lots of meetings at the region of Durham, and every municipality is kind of nervous about it. Really open to having those conversations. This is not the year to have them because there's a huge shortage of salt across the province.
Okay, when will we complete the sidewalks for King Street West, Maple, Pine, Balsam Beach, and the section of roads to the east of the arena, as well as Victoria Street by Second Wedge?
So there's lots of work proposed for that area. The region of Durham need to replace a number of different water and wastewater pipes under those roads. Those roads are a mess. You know, Cedar has a ton of potholes, and the pavement conditioning is really embarrassing, to be honest. But we don't like to repave things and then also, you know, rip them up right after. So some of that work is supposed to happen this year. Hopefully it doesn't get kicked out a year because of budget constraints at the region. But as soon as the pipes are replaced, we will be replacing the roads as well. There's some areas that we'll add sidewalks after, some that we won't. We just have to be really careful about budget, and we want to kind of we want to update the asphalt wherever we can. We also want the people driving those areas to be really careful and really safe. Sometimes when you have big, wide, more open roads, people drive faster. And anyway, that might be another, there's probably going to be a follow-up question I might answer later.
Okay, last question is, could we commandeer local snowmobiles to run the trails around town after a snowfall to help groom and pat down the snow to allow for folks to walk, hike them after a heavy snowfall?
Okay, I'm going to talk about two things. First of all, our trail volunteers are amazing, including those that are grooming our hiking and biking trails in the Countryside Preserve and also at Durham Forest. They're phenomenal. They make it great to ride bikes, to snowshoe, to run. All those trails are great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to forward that question to our Trails Committee and see if they have any ideas where that might help. Often, with our climate, when you just knock down the trails like that, it's great for skiing, but when you're walking in, it's not much better. But you know what, let's let our experts on the Trails Committee answer that question. Thank you so much. Oh, anything else?
No more questions.
Guys, thank you. I don't know how many of you listened all the way through. Please ask your questions. I like harder ones. They're way more fun, and I appreciate the interaction. All the best.